Branches is a place of possibility and hope. And we do that by creating community. So when someone comes to us, we literally surround them with support, and because we believe in their value and we believe in their potential. And so with children and youth, we create opportunities so they can succeed in school and beyond that, so they gain confidence for life and set goals.
Families need a place for their children, not just for daycare, but for their children after school and in the evenings, a place for their kids to do their homework and to know about how to make good decisions and what are the next steps. Branches helps the parents work with their students to really adjust to life here in the United States. At all of our different Branches sites, there's an adult, a volunteer that really cares for them and wants to know how their day has been.
When adults come to us, we help them set their financial goals so that they can really overcome some of the obstacles that they faced in their life.
Branches helped me when I needed the know-how of starting a business. I am a personal trainer, a fitness professional. My business is helping people to get healthy. If it wasn't for Branches, I would be still in a rut. Having a debt load was draining. I needed to come out of the hole, and I didn't know how to do that, and Branches, they taught me that.
The majority of clients that we see here at Branches, they usually come here with a lot of challenges when it comes to their finances.
They took the mystery out of filing for your business, out of trying to settle with the debt collectors or to settle with the student loan situation or filing my taxes. Branches basically took me through everything I needed to do, getting the business name, organizing, what I wanted to do, putting together a business plan. They also offered a marketing workshop. When you can finally get that notice that says that you are no longer in default, it's emotionally, it's a relief. When you get it off you.
Martine was really one of those special kids, always full of life. She loved to learn and be a part of things. One of those kids that come along and help you remember why we do what we do here at Branches. And I always told her when she was a kid that one day she was going to run Branches. And so it's kind of beautiful to see that's come true.
Kim is very authentic and she's caring, and she lived in Florida City. She wasn't this person that just came in and worked and left.
Florida City is a community really filled with working poor. Haitian families, and then also Hispanics from Central and South America, and they work in the agricultural construction industry. They come to the United States with all these hopes and dreams, and they know that they can't get all those hopes and dreams for themselves, so they have them for their children. And so to be able to be a part of Branches, it gives them the partnership they really need.
When I first came from Haiti, I didn't speak English. I needed a lot of help. And a lot of the kids that I serve here fit that profile, and I see myself in them. I first heard of Branches when I was in middle school. I really saw that the organization cared about me and not just the faith component of it. They cared about what was going on in my home life. There was a scholarship that I wanted to apply to and didn't think I would qualify for. They helped me through that, and I was able to receive that scholarship.
I like Miss Martine because she cares about all of the Branches kids.
She's always looking out for us.
She would push me to do my best in school.
She helps us with our homework.
Whenever I say I quit, she inspires me to keep on going.
She wants us to do our best on the SAT and FCAT. Yes.
For years, we've served a certain number of students, and we've always had a waiting list. Sometimes I go to the elementary school and I kind of hide because I don't want people to ask me, oh, Kim, is there space? Because I know there's not. And so we really will be able to almost triple the amount of students that we can serve at all 4 of our sites in the next few years.
It means so much to me when our children experience a major breakthrough because of the work that we do. For example, Dennis, who is in 2nd grade, came to us completely unable to read. He couldn't do his homework and he was very frustrated and had very low self-esteem. With intense tutoring and one-on-one coaching, Dennis is now almost reading at grade level. In only 5 months, he is able to complete his homework every day and is earning B's in school. This is a huge accomplishment for Dennis and we're so proud of him. I see myself in them.
How do I build credit from scratch? Building your credit for the first time can feel a little like the chicken and the egg. To build a good credit score, you're going to need to take out a loan or get a credit card. But you can't qualify for a loan or get a credit card without some credit history, right? So what do? Let's start with a bank account. You don't really need a long credit history to open a checking account at your local bank. In fact, you may have one already. Even though a checking account won't necessarily help you build credit history with the bureaus, that account may help you get your first credit card or loan from the same provider. You see, if you already have a history of doing good business with the bank, they know you and value that business. That existing relationship can carry some weight when it comes time to get your first line of credit. Another idea is to put 1 or more utilities in your own name. While companies aren't required to report on-time payments to your credit bureau, some do, and some may be willing if you contact them and ask them to report your payment history on your behalf. Having an electric, wireless, or water service account in good standing won't establish a credit score on its own, but can be helpful for first-time borrowers since it shows lenders you're a responsible person who pays their bills on time. Keep in mind, though, the reverse is also true. Even if a utility doesn't report on positive payments, if a bill becomes overdue and goes to collections, there's a good chance it will land on your budding credit report as a negative. These are some good first steps, but if that's still not enough, here are a few other things to consider. Some banks offer credit cards for folks who want to establish, strengthen, or even rebuild their credit. It's called a secured credit card because you secure the amount you borrow with a security deposit. In other words, you provide collateral, something the lender gets to keep should you default on the loan, by depositing money in an account with the bank. Your credit line is equal to the amount you deposit. You won't be able to touch that money or use it to pay off your balance, and you'll still have to prove to the bank that you have sufficient income to pay the credit card. The good news is that the bank will be more confident that you'll pay them back, even without great credit, allowing you to build or rebuild your credit. Since you'll be using your first card to build your credit, you want to make sure that once active, your lender will report all those on-time payments to the bureaus before you apply. Most banks and credit unions do this, but some retail store cards, for example, don't. If this isn't the case, that the payment history isn't reported, you may want to keep shopping for a card. Also, don't apply for a bunch of different cards if you keep striking out. All those hard inquiries and declines aren't going to help you build a score. Keep in mind, a secured card is different from a prepaid card. A prepaid card allows you to load the card with a cash amount ahead of time to spend later. Prepaid cards are great for people who need a Visa or MasterCard to make a purchase and can be a terrific gift idea, but they won't help you establish credit. Another way to build credit is to see if there is someone who might be willing to co-sign a loan with you, for example, your parents or spouse. When someone co-signs a loan, you get the benefit of their good credit history, and this may help you get approved. You can then build your own credit with a history of good payment on the co-signed account. Now, whoever co-signs the loan for you is taking on a really big financial responsibility. They'll be on the hook for the debt if you run into trouble, so it's not something you should ask for lightly. When you do get credit extended to you, it's important to keep managing it carefully even after you've built a history. You're doing the right thing by getting off on the right foot. Now, make sure you keep those good habits the rest of your credit life. There are some additional videos here that will keep you on the straight and narrow when it comes to building out a long, positive credit history, and that will eventually result in a really good credit score.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
As part of its ongoing commitment to improving the South Florida community, Your Miami Heat, along with Florida Blue, unveiled the renovations to its 13th Learn and Play Center at Branches in Miami.
This is my first one, and it's just good hearing everything that they do for families of Miami-Dade, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
I'm honored and humbled to be a part of something like this. The Learning Center is for the kids mostly, it's for the community. It also helps the parents.
We've got great Samsung products here for the kids. We've got great both electronic things. We've got books, we've got libraries, we've got these fantastic graphics. So it's really a really nice opportunity for us today.
I was shocked. I saw the pictures of Miami Heat. I saw the gadgets and all sorts of stuff. I was very happy.
All 13 of these Learn and Play Centers are just valuable community assets. So we want them to enjoy this, have fun, but to learn. So it really brings together people who are committed to helping the community and to helping children.
It's really inspiring because this doesn't happen to everybody. And to happen to us is just a dream come true.
There's no better investment that anybody could make here in Miami-Dade County than in our young people. So I just want to thank the Heat for coming together to do great work on behalf of our kids.
For Heat TV, I'm Mari Monge.
One word ignites imagination. It taunts us, fuels us, motivates first tries, or offers second chances. One word inhabits every place and every person. It wills us to step up and take a step in the right direction. One word demands more from us. It demands that we plant new roots, shake promise from poverty, find our future selves, empower our families, strengthen our communities. The power of this one word is that with courage, grit, and help from people like you, this one word can change everything.
Hola, soy Irma y trabajo para el Servicio de Impuestos Internos, el IRS. Si tiene preguntas mientras usted está llenando su declaración de impuestos, la mejor manera de obtener ayuda está en nuestro sitio web, irs.gov. Una herramienta que es muy útil es nuestro asistente tributario interactivo, o ITA por sus siglas en inglés. La herramienta ITA es un recurso de la ley tributaria que le lleva a través de una serie de preguntas y le proporciona respuestas tributarias. Usted puede encontrarla visitando irs.gov/ITA. Solamente escriba lo que quiere saber en la casilla de búsqueda de ITA o haga clic en Popular Topics and Categories, los temas populares o las categorías. Otra cosa que puede hacer mientras está en nuestro sitio web es preparar y presentar su declaración de impuestos gratuitamente. Solo visite irs.gov/free file. Entonces, después de presentar su declaración de impuestos, usted puede regresar a nuestro sitio web para ver el estado de la misma. La dirección es irs.gov/refunds.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. You'll always have my shoulder when you cry. I'll never let go, never say goodbye. You know you can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, you can count on me 'cause I can count on you.
Your life is on your computer, from your financial records and contacts to your family photos and videos. Your favorite music, movies, games, and other documents you wouldn't want to lose. The reality is, if you don't back up those files, you risk a total loss if your computer gets hacked, crashes, or downloads a virus. That's right, everything. Gone in a nanosecond.
Did somebody say, back it up?
I did say backup. We want everyone to back up their files once a week. It's one way to avoid a digital disaster.
Good idea, you gotta back it up. If you don't want to lose it, back it up.
If you don't back up often, you risk losing it all if your computer crashes, gets hacked, or downloads a virus.
You could lose it all.
It's fast and easy to back up to an external hard drive, a DVD or CD, a flash drive, or to cloud storage. And when you're finished backing up your files, disconnect your backup drive until you use it again.
You gotta back it up, back it up. If you want it, back.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Back it up. Visit onguardonline.gov to learn more.
Sarah wanted a savings account to help her save for a car, and she wanted a checking account to pay her bills. She went to a bank near her office. Sarah was surprised that they charged a monthly fee for anyone with less than $1,000 in the bank. So Sarah decided to do some homework. She made a list of the things that were important to her. She wanted a bank with lots of ATMs. She didn't want to pay fees, so she wanted a bank that let her keep a low minimum balance without charging her extra. She also wanted a bank that paid interest on both her savings and checking account. Knowing what she wanted, Sarah compared a credit union with another bank. The credit union didn't have many ATMs, but she could use any other credit union's ATM for free. There were no fees and no minimum balance required, and both accounts paid a small interest rate. The bank had lots of ATMs. It also had fees if her balance went below $300. The savings account paid interest, but not the checking account. Sarah thought the bank might be more convenient, but she worried about paying fees if her balance went below $300. And she liked the idea of getting interest, even a little bit, on her money. Sarah decided the right place to help her save and pay her bills was the credit union. But it was a tough decision.
Does carrying a balance on my credit card hurt my credit score? It can if the balance gets too high. You see, your credit score is influenced by how much available credit you have and the balances you owe on both revolving and installment accounts. Revolving usually means an open line of credit that can be used as needed up to a certain limit, like a credit card, rather than an installment loan that's taken out all at once, then paid back on a fixed schedule, say a mortgage, for instance. One advantage of a revolving account is convenience. Even if you pay it off, it stays open, so you can use it again if you want without applying for more credit. Revolving accounts are beneficial to have on credit reports because over time, they show a history of how well you manage credit. You'll probably want some revolving accounts in addition to some installment accounts with fixed monthly payments, like a car loan or mortgage, to round out your credit report and get a really good score. Different credit scores get calculated in different ways, but if the amount you owe on your revolving debt is more than 30% of your available credit, it may have a negative impact. Now, on the other hand, having a bunch of inactive cards in your wallet isn't ideal either. High unused revolving credit limits can also hurt your score because you can get into a lot of debt really quickly with the credit you already have. And carrying high revolving balances increases the chance that you could have trouble paying back any additional credit, and that can have a huge negative impact. But since you don't need to carry a balance on your cards month to month to show that you're using them, it's usually beneficial to try and keep your revolving credit balance as low as possible. The best thing you can do for your credit score is to pay your bills on time and pay more than the monthly minimum payment whenever you can. There are tools available online that can help you estimate how paying down your balances, closing a card, or opening a new one might impact your credit score. Look for a good credit score simulator online.
Hola, soy Alejandra y trabajo para el Servicio de Impuestos Internos. Si usted o sus hijos están asistiendo a la universidad, usted podría ahorrar dinero en el costo de la matrícula, libros y cuotas solo por presentar su declaración de impuestos. Por ejemplo, usted podría recibir hasta $2,500 del crédito tributario de la Oportunidad Americana o hasta $2,000 del crédito perpetuo de aprendizaje. Para ver si es elegible, visite nuestro centro de educación en irs.gov. Ahí encontrará una herramienta llamada el Asistente Interactivo de Impuestos, que le servirá como guía a través del proceso. Para ayudar a determinar estos créditos, únicamente debe reportar las cantidades que haya pagado en gastos de educación durante el año. Aunque los casos que usted haya pagado sean diferentes a las cantidades que muestran en las casillas 1 o 2 del formulario 1098T. Este es el formulario que la mayoría de los colegios de educación superior y las universidades le enviarán en enero. Tenga en cuenta que las escuelas de educación superior no saben ni están requeridas a reportar todos los gastos calificados como libros, materiales y equipo necesario para el curso de estudio. Pero recuerde, solo reporte las cantidades que fueron pagadas en el año tributario. Es buena idea mantener los registros y recibos de los gastos pagados. Puede obtener más detalles sobre esto y otra información visitando irs.gov, escribiendo Education Center en la casilla de búsqueda.
Hi, I'm Hector, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. Are you associated with a tax-exempt organization that needs to file a Form 990? If so, protect yourself and others by not including unnecessary and unrequested Social Security numbers or SSNs on the form. Also, leave out any other unnecessary personal information. The IRS does not ask organizations for the SSNs of their donors, benefactors, or administrators. The instructions on the form are clear, but every year we still see personal information and SSNs on the forms. Here's why it is so important to leave these things out. By law, both the IRS and most tax-exempt organizations are required to share their 990 forms, along with schedules and attachments, with the public, the media, and others who can post this information on the Internet. Public access to SSNs and other personal information about donors, clients, or benefactors could create an opening for identity thieves. Identity theft is a major concern, and your personal information should always be protected. Another thing to keep in mind is we strongly recommend you file your Form 990 electronically. E-file is safe and secure, and it reduces the risk of including SSNs or other unneeded personal information on your 990 forms. For more information on filing your tax-exempt forms, including the filing requirements, go to irs.gov and hover over Information For in the top right corner, and then click Charities and Nonprofits.
One day, Laura called the number for annualcreditreport.com. She wanted to check her credit, and she knew their credit reports were really free. 2 weeks later, Laura got her free report in the mail. That same day, her husband Tony saw an ad for a free credit score. He went online to get his free score. He thought it was cool to know his number. He figured it would tell him whether he had good or bad credit. But Laura was happy to know that the information in her report was right, and that it said she paid her bills on time. Tony still thought he got the better deal. Sure, Laura could see her credit information, but he knew his score, and it was free. But a month later, Tony changed his mind. His credit card bill had a strange charge for a credit monitoring service. It turns out his free score signed him up to pay $29.99 a month for credit monitoring. He got his credit card to cancel the charge, but Tony didn't think he got the better deal anymore.
Este es un consejo del IRS. Hola, soy Anabel y trabajo para el Servicio de Impuestos Internos, el IRS. Si adquirió su seguro médico a través del mercado de seguros médicos, es probable que esté recibiendo pagos adelantados del crédito tributario de primas. Estos pagos son enviados directamente a su compañía de seguros para reducir el costo mensual de seguro médico de su bolsillo. Si los pagos adelantados del crédito tributario de primas están siendo efectuados en su nombre, es importante reportar al mercado cambios en su situación según ocurren. Tales cambios incluirían aumentos o reducciones en los ingresos y el tamaño de su familia. Reportar cambios en su vida tales como matrimonios, divorcios, el nacimiento de un bebé o aumentos y reducciones de ingresos permitirá que el mercado se asegure de que usted esté obteniendo el tipo adecuado y la cantidad correcta de ayuda financiera y le ayudará a evitar recibir demasiado o muy poco por adelantado. Recibir demasiado puede afectar su reembolso o el balance adeudado cuando presente su declaración de impuestos. Y recibir muy poco pudiera significar que usted no está obteniendo la ayuda que necesita. Tener presente y reportar estos cambios al mercado según ocurren le ayudará a evitar que su reembolso sea más chico de lo que esperaba al presentar su declaración de impuestos o inclusive adeudar dinero que no esperaba deber. Para más información acerca de esta y otras disposiciones tributarias del cuidado de salud, visite irs.gov/ACA e ingrese a la sección en español. Para información acerca de la cobertura de seguro médico y el mercado, visite cuidadodesalud.gov.
Now, on MyTV33, this is Focus on South Florida with Erica Sargent.
Good Sunday morning, everyone, and welcome to Focus on South Florida. Here we examine issues behind the pulse of our community and put them into perspective. I am CBS 4's Erica Sargent, and today is March 15th. That means tax day is exactly 1 month away, the deadline for when our 2014 income taxes must be filed with the IRS. And if you're like many people, including myself, you have not yet completed your return. There are also tax scams you need to be aware of. And did you know that you might be eligible for free tax help through the United Way's VITA program? Well, here with me in the studio this morning, Javier Diaz and Yanet Obario Sanchez. Javier is the VITA Collaborative Coordinator and a financial coach at the United Way Center for Financial Stability. And Yanet is the Senior Director of Public Relations with the United Way of Miami-Dade. Welcome both this morning. So great to have you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, so we have to start with what I'm sure catches so many people's attention, the free aspect of this tax season. And what resources, Javier, do you have through the programs at the United Way to actually help people with their taxes for free?
So definitely, as a partner with the United Way and the United Way Center for Financial Stability, Branches, once again, is the grantee for the IRS's VITA program, which is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Through that program, community partners help facilitate free tax preparation for our community members who generally make below $60,000.
Okay, and that really covers, you know, a lot of people in our community. Are they taking any of these resources into account when they're looking to file their taxes?
Well, absolutely. We're hoping that people do look at the VITA sites. We have 40 plus VITA sites throughout the county. However, only 1% of the population that can actually come and get their taxes done for free are actually coming out and getting their taxes done for free.
And why do you think that is, that people aren't really using these resources?
Well, we find a host of reasons. Some people say, oh, I never knew about this. Other people's like, well, my brother and sister use this so-and-so, and I want to go that route because they got the most refunds. And we always, you know, warn people about when going to places, paying to get your taxes done, or paying people some extra money to, you know, do something on the side. They really have to be careful. So we tell them, if you qualify, it's a great service. Come on in. Our volunteers are all trained, and it's a perfect example of where you can get it done right.
And you can get it done right at a lot of locations, I understand. Through the VITA program, how many different spots across South Florida can people turn to?
Yes, there's over, like Annette said, over 40 sites across the county, from the north down all the way to Florida City. At our center in Florida City, you can get your taxes done for free again.
For free.
Yes.
All right, now let's turn to some of the scams that are out there. You were alluding to this with getting some money on the side, but Javier, tell us about what you're seeing and what people should really be aware of out there.
So one of the more frequent ones now are people receiving phone calls saying, hey, you owe money from the IRS, you know, verify your social security number, and other information that they're trying to, pretty much a phishing phone call. Just like the phishing emails, they're pretty much putting calls out there trying to get you to give up your personal information so that they can steal your identity. So again, you know, the IRS has said they will never call you about a refund.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So you should never take, if you receive a call from the IRS, it's a bogus call, it's a scam.
A bogus call, and don't give out that personal information over the phone, for
Absolutely
sure.
not. And really for the elderly or people that English is not their first language, this is very important. It happened to me. I was called and I was told that the IRS was going to take me to court and a host of things for me to verify. And I was like, listen, you called me, why don't you send me a letter? And I hung up. And that's what I encourage everyone to do. The IRS will send you letters. We always talk about the IRS released the Dirty Dozen. So on the IRS website, you can find the Dirty Dozen, and it's about emails and phone calls and how people are taking your information and taking your children's social security numbers as well. So we really want you to be careful when people call you is, can you please verify this social security? I always ask back, can you verify it? You called me.
Right, good point there. And you were mentioning the children. Also, I've been hearing about them actually finding some way to actually get your tax refund. Are you coming across those scams as well, where there is access or some way, is it through your personal information possibly, but they're able to somehow get your refund instead of it coming to you?
Well, what happens generally with the children too is, aside from, we typically identify identity theft with the adults, but it happens with kids as well, because with the earned income tax credit, it's a credit that's out there for hardworking families who have children, and people take advantage of that. So not only are they stealing adults' identities, but they're also taking their kids' identities, whether it be they attained it from some kind of doctor's office, or however the case may be that they attain the information. They'll take that and sell it to somebody else so that they can claim that child and receive the credit.
All right. Now, these are services you're offering right now, but I understand that you offer financial coaching all year long. So some of the resources, talk to us about those.
So through the United Way Center for Financial Stability that is run by Branches, which is Javier's team, we have two of them. We have one in Northwest Miami and we have one in Florida City. This is year-round. We help working families year-round organize their finances, learn what to do with their money, learn how to invest their money. Some people say, oh, I'm never going to invest. Why not? We really want to help families set a path to financial independence. And really it's, what do you have, how can you grow it, and how can you invest so that you have a comfortable nest egg when you're retiring?
And just to wrap up here, what's the best website for people to find out more information and be able to reach out to you?
MiamiFinancialStability.org altogether. MiamiFinancialStability.org.
Well, thank you both. And with 1 month away, there is still plenty of time for them to reach out and get your resources. So thank you for offering them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And still to come, potentially life-saving information for you or a loved one. What you need to know to help prevent one of the nation's more common types of cancer.
Hi, I'm Hector, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. If this is your first time filing a federal tax return, it may seem overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be, especially if you use IRS Free File. With Free File, you'll get free tax preparation and electronic filing that's available through a partnership with the IRS and software companies. It's offered exclusively at our website. The great thing about Free File is that it'll do the math for you. It'll help you avoid errors, and it'll find the credits and deductions you're eligible for. Filing electronically is the best way to file an accurate tax return. And combining electronic filing with direct deposit is the fastest way to get your refund. The IRS generally issues refunds within 21 days after we receive your tax return. 2 things to remember. 1. If you're younger than 24, ask your parents if they're claiming you as a dependent on their tax return. If they are, you won't be able to claim yourself on your tax return. But chances are you can still use Free File to get any refund that's owed to you. 2. Free File can help you with the Affordable Care Act. The law requires everyone to have qualifying health insurance coverage for each month, or qualify for an exemption, or make a shared responsibility payment when filing a federal income tax return. You will need to report this information on your return for yourself and each member of your family. With Free File, a few quick, simple answers will take care of these healthcare questions for most people. Just go to irs.gov and click on Free File. Oh, and did I mention it's free?
Hi, I'm Alexis, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. If you have questions while you're filling out your tax return, the best way to get help is at our website, irs.gov. One tool that's helpful is our Interactive Tax Assistant, or ITA. The ITA tool is a tax law resource that takes you through a series of questions and provides you with answers. You can also print them if you want. You can get there by going to irs.gov/ITA. Just type what you want to know in the ITA search box or click one of the popular ITA topics. Another thing you can do while you're on our website is prepare and file your tax return for free. Just go to irs.gov/freefile The free file software will help you find all the credits and deductions you are due. Then, after you file your tax return, you can come back to our website to check on your refund. The address for that is irs.gov/refunds.
Hola, soy Sara y trabajo para el Servicio de Impuestos Internos, el IRS. Probablemente ha oído que la Ley de Cuidado de Salud puede afectar a sus impuestos, pero puede que no tenga claro lo que esto realmente significa. Aunque usted pudiera tener que tomar decisiones acerca de la cobertura de seguro médico que mantiene para usted mismo y para su familia, lo cierto es que la mayoría de personas ya tienen la cobertura de seguro médico que necesitan, conocida como la cobertura esencial mínima, y probablemente no tengan que hacer nada. Sin embargo, si usted está sin cobertura durante cualquier parte del año, se le aplican reglas especiales. Si usted no califica para una exención, pudiera tener que efectuar un pago especial, llamado el pago de la responsabilidad compartida. Usted pudiera calificar para una exención si no necesita presentar una declaración de impuestos, si usted no tiene acceso a cobertura de seguro médico asequible, si es miembro de ciertos grupos exentos o si usted está atravesando una dificultad. También hay otras exenciones. Una lista completa de estas está disponible en el sitio web del IRS. Ahora, si usted o uno de sus dependientes no tiene cobertura y no califica para una exención, usted tendrá que hacer un pago de la responsabilidad compartida para individuos al presentar su declaración de impuestos. El monto del pago puede ser un porcentaje de sus ingresos o una cantidad fija en dólares, el monto que sea mayor. El pago se basa en el número de meses que usted permanece sin cobertura o sin una exención. Para más información, visite irs.gov/ACA e ingrese a la sección en español.
I am a mountain, I am a tall tree, oh, I am a swift wind, sweeping the country. I am a river, down in the valley, oh, I am a vision.
What does compassion look like? Can you spot justice at just a glance? What does a smile tell you about the heart of a child? There's no right answer, of course, but every day Branches is doing what it can to ensure that together we grow deeper in our commitment to community, that we climb higher to reach every person in need. Today and every day, it's a passion for people that drives the wonderful staff, the many volunteers, and you to empower Floridians to move from poverty to prosperity, to live healthier, more stable lives, to be stronger at school, at home, and in life. In essence, to grow, to climb, to achieve.
What began in 1973 as a modest outreach, Miami Urban Ministries, has now blossomed into Branches, a much-needed and vital community player here in South Florida, touching the lives of countless families. From housing to hurricane relief, we've always been there. And now we're doing even more for our community through a variety of literacy initiatives impacting every group imaginable, from the smallest of students among us to high school kids to adults navigating the often confusing world of debt and finance. Yes, to be sure, the fashion and hairstyles have changed, but the need hasn't. Then, as now, Branches is healing a hurting world, one person at a time, helping them grow, climb, achieve. Grow like little 9-year-old Barry, thanks to volunteers like Chris.
I've been volunteering for Branches for a little over 6 years, and I'm so glad I've been able to do it. There's nothing like volunteering to make you happy and to make you feel like you're really doing something worthwhile. I've been working with Barry since the beginning of the school year, and he's in 4th grade, and he's a very sweet young man.
Certainly, it doesn't get any more worthwhile than helping a child learn to read, especially crucial at a time when 74% of students here in South Miami-Dade don't read at grade level.
I would say the main thing I've done to help Barry is with his reading. He was probably never read to as a young child, and so his reading was really behind when he first came to Branches. Just his math word problems were hard for him to do because he didn't even understand what they were asking in the word problems.
Which is why Lori says Barry's time at Branches is making a difference.
I think this one-on-one attention from Miss Chris he has really blossomed with her. And I think it's because she believes in him, and he knows that she believes in him, and he responds to it. His grades have gone up quite a bit with Miss Chris. With her help, he was able to raise 3-letter grades, which is pretty amazing.
But don't take our word for it.
My 3 favorite things are Branches, LeBron James, and Miss Chris.
Absolutely the best testimony you could ask for. Kids like Barry are a constant reminder that you can make a difference, touching their lives while they in turn enrich ours. Sometimes the difference between success and failure can be something as simple as a conversation, a kind word, just listening. But to climb, to even have a chance, you first have to be present. Never is that more crucial than in high school, when giving up can alter a young life forever.
I've been coming to Branches since I was in kindergarten, and my overall experience was amazing. This year, I'm a senior at Corey Senior High School.
After losing her father, Kiki withdrew.
The last 2 years in high school has been very difficult for me. My dad passed away my junior year on February 17th. This affected me in many ways. I didn't want to go to school anymore. I quit coming to youth night at Branches, and I sort of gave up on everything.
This young woman that I'd seen grow up, who was full of such joy and energy, was really struggling, and she didn't know quite what to do. So things suffered in her life, but the people here at Branches continued to love and support her. And it's through that incredible support that Kiki was able to continue to climb.
Thanks to a tireless focus on people in need and never giving up on a kid in trouble, our volunteers made a lasting connection that just may have changed a life forever.
During this time in my life, Branches was a great support system. They called me, they texted me to make sure I was okay. They encouraged me to come back to Branches to continue with school, and they also helped me prepare to go to college. In the fall, I'm going to be attending Florida A&M University. I knew that I can get into college because Branches believed in me.
When I started with Branches and when it all clicked to me was I need a way to get help. I need a way to know how to budget. I need to know how to be able to manage my finances so that I'm able to save for my future.
When Alex first came in, one of the things that I noticed about her is that she was really driven to make a change about her finances. And she was also spurred by the fact that she was called to court to pay down her debt.
To achieve, you first must believe. Branches believes that with sound advice, strong tools, and of course, a desire to change, just about anyone can recover from the weighty despair of financial frustration and achieve true freedom.
With the help of Branches, I've been able to pay over $5,000 of the debt, and it's been a big help for me to at least start in that stage.
Today we're helping Alex make an impact in her life. She gives back to people all the time, every day. So I think it's really great that she can come in here and receive services from us that'll really, impact her life and her financial situation, so that she can pass that knowledge to others.
To be sure, this is just a small sample of what we do, but even with a glance, you can see and even feel the enormous impact Branches is having on our community, an impact that could be so much stronger with your support. Thanks to the volunteers, the families, and of course you, Branches will definitely grow deeper and climb higher, paving paths from poverty to prosperity, leading and learning, strengthening students to stay in school, and of course, teaching financial literacy. A strong voice for those in need so that they can grow, climb, and achieve one day, one step, and one life at a time.
If anybody asks you who I am, just stand up tall, look them in the face and say, I'm that star up in the sky, I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it, I'm the world's greatest, And I'm that little bit of hope when my back's up against the ropes. I can feel it. I'm the world's greatest. In the ring of life, I'll reign love. I will reign, and the world will notice again. Oh yeah, yeah. Darkness, I'll shine a light. Shine a light. And the mirrors of success reflect in me. I made it. I'm the world's greatest. I'm that little bit. I'm that little bit. Oh, yeah. I can feel it. Feel it. I'm the world's greatest. Whoa. I'm that star up in the sky. Oh, yes, I am. I done made it. I'm the world's greatest. And I'm that little bit of hope. Yeah. When my back's against the wall. I can feel the world's greatest. I saw the light and that star up in the sky.
Los detalles de tu vida están en tu computadora. Desde tus finanzas y contactos hasta tus fotos y videos familiares, tu música, películas y juegos favoritos y otros documentos que no quieres perder. La verdad es que si no haces copias de seguridad de todos esos archivos, te estás arriesgando a perderlo todo si te piratean la computadora, o colapsa, o se descarga un virus. Así es, todo.
Ay, no puede ser.
Desaparece en un nanosegundo. Así es.
¿Quién dijo copias de seguridad?
Yo dije copia de seguridad. Queremos que todo el mundo haga copias de seguridad de sus archivos una vez por semana. Es una forma de evitar un desastre digital.
Es buena idea si no quieres perderlo.
Correcto. Si no haces copias de seguridad con frecuencia y tu computadora es pirateada o colapsa o se descarga un virus, te arriesgas a perderlo todo. Hacer copias de seguridad en un disco duro externo, un DVD o un CD, en una memoria flash o en un servicio de almacenamiento en nube es fácil y rápido. Y cuando termines de hacer la copia de seguridad de tus archivos, desconecta el dispositivo donde la guardaste hasta que lo vuelvas a necesitar.
Tienes que hacerlo con confianza.
Yo no lo podría decir mejor. Haz copias de seguridad. Para más información, visita alertaenlinea.gov.
Trish and Dan do more than just give resources to an organization like Branches, but they express their joy through their giving, and they do it in such unique ways and get people engaged all across the spectrum. Like they have given scholarships for summer camp that children from Branches, 75 this past summer, have attended Warren Willis Camp of the United Methodist Church. And they've gone beyond that. In fact, when high school seniors graduated a year ago, they invited them all on a cruise of Biscayne Bay on their yacht, and afterwards to a home-cooked meal at their home. So it was just a wonderful moment together to share and celebrate. And that's just what the Bells, that's what they do, and that's who they are.
Through the support of Dan and Trish Bell, I've seen lives transformed. People have received resources that help them to achieve the goals that they have set for themselves and their family, breaking the cycles of poverty.
I grew up at Branches, Florida City, and now have the privilege of running the Grow and Climb program here at Branches Lakeview. Trish and Dan are incredible people. It's so great to have donors like them who care so deeply about the children and youth we serve.
We talk a lot in this community and in this country about Judeo-Christian values. We talk about pluralism and diversity. We talk about goodness. We talk about various kinds of wealth. In the best sense of all of those words, I don't know a couple who lead fuller, more spiritual, more giving lives, more and better lives of example than Trish and Dan Bell.
Branches is a family to me. Branches is like joy, happiness, worship. Like It's like all of that in one. I'm so happy that Branches is mentoring me and helping me like to get in college and like putting me in that right direction that's gonna set me up for success.
Branches is the best place that you can come to. They help you with your homework and you get to have fun, play in the playground, and have special activities to do. And on top of that, everything is free.
I like Branches because every time I need help, they help me. And I like Branches because I make friends here.
I am just so grateful for the years and years of advice, of counsel, of input, and of course resources that have enabled us to just go to places that we almost couldn't dream of until you pushed us to envision the next level of where Branches could be and what we could do. So thank you.
I'm at the point in my own life where I think it's hugely important to tell your own children, people in your family, and other people, other really good people, that you love them. And I love Trish and Dan. They're about as good as you get on the planet Earth.
Thank you, Trish and Dan.
Thank you, Trish and Dan.
Thank you, Trish and Dan.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Bell.
Thank you, Trish and Dan, with all my love.
You may have noticed that when you deposit money into a bank, sometimes you have access to that money right away, while at other times, it might take a few days before it becomes available for you to use. Why the difference? Well, it often has to do with the way banks process different types of deposits. If you make a cash deposit with the teller at your bank, the money will often be available in your account immediately, or the next business day, depending on your bank's policy. Your teller will be able to let you know. If you deposit cash using your bank's ATM, it might be available right away, or it could take a few days. This is because some ATMs automatically count the bills as you deposit them, but others require you to put your cash in an envelope, which a bank teller will verify later. Scheduled direct deposits from a payer, like your employer, are usually available in your account on your regular payday, or the following business day. That's because the bank that the deposit is coming from will schedule a credit to your account through your bank in advance. That means that the processing, making sure the account that the deposit is coming from has enough money to cover the transaction, can also happen in advance. When you deposit a check at a bank or ATM, it can take a little more time because your bank needs to collect the funds from the payer, whose account might be at a different bank. It works like this. When you deposit the check at your bank, they will send the check or an electronic image of the check to the payer's bank. Some large banks work directly with each other to clear checks, but many others will send a check through an intermediary called a clearinghouse in order to process it. The clearinghouse will sort all the transactions coming from one bank to another and send the correct amount of money to each. Then the individual check amounts will be posted to each account. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that even if some or all of your deposit is available in your account, it doesn't necessarily mean that the check has cleared. If there isn't enough money in the payer's account, or if the check is fraudulent or counterfeit, the check will be returned unpaid, and this can happen after your bank has made the money available to you. So if you've already withdrawn the money, you'll be held responsible for paying it back, and sometimes there can be fees associated with this. Now, the amount of your check deposit can also affect how quickly the money is available. Generally, if your deposit is $200 or less, you'll have access to the money by the next business day. But larger amounts can take longer to become available. Your bank may make a portion of your check available within the next business day or two. But some banks may hold a portion of a check over $5,000 for multiple business days. There are also a few reasons a bank might delay portions of certain deposits, and most of them have to do with managing risk. A bank can lose money if a check is fraudulent or counterfeit. So if the deposit is being made into a recently opened checking account, or if the deposit is unusual based on the account's history, or if the account has a history of frequent overdrafts, the bank might take more time before it makes the money available. There are other factors that can delay the availability of a check deposit as well. So if you need to know when your money will become available, talk to a bank representative when you make your deposit. Mobile deposits, where you snap a picture of your check that gets sent electronically to your bank, are generally processed the same way regular check deposits are. They can save you a trip to the bank, but how long it takes to process them can vary from bank to bank. You can check your bank's mobile deposit policy to know when you can expect your money to be available. One more thing that can affect when your deposit becomes available is how your bank defines the end of a business day. Most people think of a business day as being a regular weekday from 9 to 5. But depending on the bank and the type of deposit, the end of day, that is the cutoff time, can actually be any time from noon until midnight. So if your bank has a 3 p.m. cutoff time and you deposit a check at 3:30, the bank won't consider your check deposited until the following day, which means it could take an extra day before you have access to your money. Some banks have later cutoff times for ATM and mobile deposits. So if you miss the cutoff time to deposit a check in person, you may have other options to deposit your check within the same business day. Different banks have different policies regarding when money from deposits is made available. So if you need to know when your money will be available, you can review your bank's deposit availability policy or talk to a bank representative to make sure you have access to your money when you need it.
How much home can you comfortably afford? Having a mortgage that weighs you down every month is never a good situation. No one wants that. So to make sure it doesn't happen, we're here to help you figure out what's affordable when it comes to owning a home. In fact, we have 2 other videos you should watch called Planning for Extra Costs When Buying a Home and What Makes Up a Mortgage Payment. First and foremost, you probably want to create a budget if you haven't done so yet, so that you can realistically determine where a mortgage payment will actually fit in. There's a video that can give you some great tips on how to build one called How to Set a Budget and Stick to It. Once you've got a budget in place, try your best to focus less on how much you can borrow and more on an amount that will fit comfortably within your life without putting any other financial plans on hold. That part is key. A good rule of thumb is to take whatever you make each month before taxes and multiply that by 28%. That's how much a manageable monthly payment might be. So for example, if you make $3,500 a month, a realistic payment could be $980, including taxes and insurance. There are also a lot of online tools that can help make this calculation even easier. Then once you've determined exactly what you can afford, a good approach is to actually try on the payment. That means taking the amount you're paying right now for rent, then setting aside the additional amount it would take to equal a mortgage payment when accounting for things like principal, interest, taxes, insurance, PITI, plus any additional costs. If, after a few months, it ends up feeling like a comfortable payment, well, you'll then have a better idea of what you're in for when you do finally decide to take the leap. Buying and particularly owning a home is never easy, but with the right know-how, some patience, and a little hard work, you'll soon be on your way to unlocking the front door to that new house you've always wanted, especially since you'll have a mortgage that's manageable for you.
This is you. You've been ripped off, or you've spotted a scam. Don't keep it to yourself. Take it to the Federal Trade Commission by filing a complaint. What kind of complaint? The Federal Trade Commission is the nation's consumer protection agency. So if a business doesn't deliver on its promises, or if someone cheats you out of your money, the Federal Trade Commission wants to hear about it.
I bought a phone card with 350 minutes of calling time, but it cut me off after 20.
I'm getting bills for things I didn't buy. I think someone stole my identity.
Letter said I won a sweepstakes, but I had to wire money to cover the taxes. I did, and never heard from them again.
I responded to an ad online for a free trial offer, but then I started seeing charges for it every month.
I thought the email was from someone who saw my resume and wanted to hire me, but they asked for my bank account number. I reported it to the Federal Trade Commission.
Telling the Federal Trade Commission helps us stop rip-offs, scams, and fraudsters. Your complaints matter here. To file a complaint, just go to ftc.gov/complaint and answer the questions. Or call 1-877-FTC-HELP. That's all there is to it. If you've been ripped off or scammed, complain to the Federal Trade Commission. It can help put the bad guys out of business.
Spending time together, exercising, getting together with friends. This time of life means doing more of what we enjoy. Unfortunately, older people sometimes are a target for scams. And people who fall for a scam can lose face, along with money and confidence. That's why it's so important to pass on what you've learned. Your experience can help others. Start a conversation with the people in your life. For example, you can remind your friends and loved ones that if anyone ever asks them to send money, stop. Check it out with someone they trust. Get the real story. Once they get the real story, then they can decide what to do. You know this. You may not have gotten a call or email asking you for money, but chances are you know someone who has. Sharing what you know with those you care about can help stop the scammers in their tracks. Help someone learn to spot fraudulent phone calls, emails, or letters. Pass on what you've learned. And remember, a sure sign of a scam. If anyone contacts you and asks you to wire money, no matter who they say they are, that's a scam. You know this, so pass it on to a friend. If you spot a scam, please report it to the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC is the nation's consumer protection agency. Our mission is to stop fraud, deception, and unfair business practices and help people recognize them. To report a scam, go online, ftc.gov/complaint, or call the FTC at 1-877-382-4357. Fraud and scams affect millions of people each year, but they don't have to affect someone you know. It's important that everybody understands the cost, financial and emotional. So share your experience. When you get an offer, stop, check it out, get the real story. Decide what to do, then tell a friend or family member about it. Pass it on.
Planning for extra costs when buying a home. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or just refinancing, it's always good to have a plan for the extra costs that can come with your new mortgage. Before you even think about buying a home, you've got to make sure your credit score is in good shape, because those three little numbers make a very big difference when it comes to what kind of interest rate you can get on a loan or how much you'll need for a down payment. And if your score isn't great, you may not even be approved for a loan at all. So go ahead and check your credit report by visiting annualcreditreport.com or get your score by contacting one of the major credit bureaus like Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. If you find that you fall into the lower range, it's not the end of the world, because there are lots of ways to get back on track. Watching some of our videos, like Building Credit and Keeping Yours Healthy, or What Really Goes Into Your Credit Score, can give you some great tips. When you're buying a home, there are all kinds of costs to consider. First, there's the down payment. The more you put down, the better. In fact, a great money habit is to put 20% of the cost of the home down. Because not only will it help you get a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments, it will also prevent you from having to pay for what's called private mortgage insurance, or PMI. PMI is a type of insurance that lenders require you to pay if you don't have 20% to put down. It protects them if you default on your loan, and it doesn't come cheap. PMI can end up costing you around 2% of your total loan amount, depending on how much you put down. This payment can be required up front or is sometimes rolled into your monthly mortgage payment as an additional monthly fee. The good news is that with some loans, you won't have to pay PMI forever, but you should check with your lender for more details on that. If you don't have 20% to put down, you're not necessarily locked out of buying altogether. There are a variety of government programs that may let you put as little as 3.5% down. But you should carefully consider all of the monthly and annual costs that come along with owning before you make a move. Because having enough to swing a down payment won't help you if you can't make your monthly mortgage payments down the line, or if you've depleted your savings and your furnace suddenly breaks. For more information on these types of programs, watch our video, Understanding Alternative Mortgage Options. Another thing to plan for is closing costs. That can include things like title insurance, appraisals, and attorney fees. Closing costs can run you an additional 3 to 7% of the total loan amount, and that's also on top of your down payment, so be aware. And let's not forget about those unanticipated expenses like increased energy costs, new appliances, homeowners association fees, or simply the cost to keep your yard looking nice. So make sure you're prepared to budget for all of these things. It's also not a bad idea to start an emergency fund just in case something pops up that you weren't expecting. We have a video that can help you with that called Create a Safety Net for Life's Unexpected Events. Knowing and understanding the extra costs that make up a new mortgage is always part of a great foundation to have when it comes to home ownership. So now that you're ready, why not take the next step and learn exactly what goes into the cost of your monthly payments with our video, What Makes Up a Mortgage Payment?
Here's a tip from the IRS. Hi, I'm Hector, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. If you purchased your health insurance through the Health Insurance Marketplace, chances are you are receiving advance payments of the premium tax credit. These payments are sent directly to your insurance company to lower your monthly out-of-pocket costs for health insurance. If advance payments of the premium tax credit are being made on your behalf, it's important to report changes in circumstances to the marketplace when they happen. Such changes would include increases or decreases in your household income and family size. Reporting life changes, such as marriage, divorce, birth of a child, or increases or decreases in income, will allow the marketplace to make sure you are getting the proper type and amount of financial assistance, and will help you avoid getting too much or too little in advance. Receiving too much can affect your refund or balance due when you file your tax return. And receiving too little could mean that you are not getting the help you need. Remembering to report these life changes and circumstances to the marketplace as they happen will help you avoid getting a smaller refund than you expect when you file your tax return, or even owing money that you did not expect to owe. For more information about this and other healthcare tax provisions, visit irs.gov/ACA. For information about healthcare coverage and the marketplace, visit healthcare.gov.
When Thomas got his credit card statement, he wasn't worried. He had finally paid off his bill, so he knew he didn't owe any money. But when Thomas looked at his statement, he found thousands of dollars in charges he didn't recognize. Someone stole his identity. So Thomas got busy. He called his credit card company right away. Then he looked online to find out what else he needed to do. First, Thomas called one of the 3 credit reporting companies and asked them to put a fraud alert on his credit report. Then he called all 3 of the credit reporting companies to ask for a free copy of his credit report. He knew they have to give them to victims of identity theft. Finally, Thomas started his identity theft report. He called the Federal Trade Commission and talked with a counselor about what happened to him. The counselor put all of Thomas's information into a report called an identity theft affidavit. Then the counselor emailed Thomas a link so he could save and print his report. Thomas took his identity theft affidavit to the police station to file a police report. He told the police what happened. They wrote a report and gave him a copy of his official police report. Thomas's identity theft affidavit plus his police report together made up his identity theft report. He kept it in a safe place. He probably will need to use it again. Thomas had a lot more to do to stop the damage the identity thief had caused, but because he acted so fast in the beginning, it all turned out okay in the end.
Branches is a place of possibility and hope. And we do that by creating community. So when someone comes to us, we literally surround them with support, and because we believe in their value and we believe in their potential. And so with children and youth, we create opportunities so they can succeed in school and beyond that, so they gain confidence for life and set goals.
Families need a place for their children, not just for daycare, but for their children after school and in the evenings, a place for their kids to do their homework and to know about how to make good decisions and what are the next steps. Branches helps the parents work with their students to really adjust to life here in the United States. At all of our different Branches sites, there's an adult, a volunteer that really cares for them and wants to know how their day has been.
When adults come to us, we help them set their financial goals so that they can really overcome some of the obstacles that they faced in their life.
Branches helped me when I needed the know-how of starting a business. I am a personal trainer, a fitness professional. My business is helping people to get healthy. If it wasn't for Branches, I would be still in a rut. Having a debt load was draining. I needed to come out of the hole, and I didn't know how to do that, and Branches, they taught me that.
The majority of clients that we see here at Branches, they usually come here with a lot of challenges when it comes to their finances.
They took the mystery out of filing for your business, out of trying to settle with the debt collectors or to settle with the student loan situation or filing my taxes. Branches basically took me through everything I needed to do, getting the business name, organizing, what I wanted to do, putting together a business plan. They also offered a marketing workshop. When you can finally get that notice that says that you are no longer in default, it's emotionally, it's a relief. When you get it off you.
Martine was really one of those special kids, always full of life. She loved to learn and be a part of things. One of those kids that come along and help you to remember why we do what we do here at Branches. And I always told her when she was a kid that one day she was going to run Branches. And so it's kind of beautiful to see that's come true.
Kim is very authentic and she's caring, and she lived in Florida City. She wasn't this person that just came in and worked and left.
Florida City is a community really filled with working poor. Haitian families, and then also Hispanics from Central and South America, and they work in the agricultural construction industry. They come to the United States with all these hopes and dreams, and they know that they can't get all those hopes and dreams for themselves, so they have them for their children. And so to be able to be a part of Branches, it gives them the partnership they really need.
When I first came from Haiti, I didn't speak English. I needed a lot of help. And a lot of the kids that I serve here fit that profile, and I see myself in them. I first heard of Branches when I was in middle school. I really saw that the organization cared about me, and not just the faith component of it. They cared about what was going on in my home life. There was a scholarship that I wanted to apply to and didn't think I would qualify for. They helped me through that and I was able to receive that scholarship.
I like Miss Martin because she cares about all of the Branches kids. She's always looking out for us.
She would push me to do my best in school.
She helps us with our homework.
Whenever I say I quit, she inspires me to keep on going.
She wants us to do our best on the SAT and FCAT. Yes.
For years, we've served a certain number of students, and we've always had a waiting list. Sometimes I go to the elementary school and I kind of hide because I don't want people to ask me, oh, Kim, is there space? Because I know there's not. And so we really will be able to almost triple the amount of students that we can serve at all 4 of our sites in the next few years.
It means so much to me when our children experience a major breakthrough because of the work that we do. For example, Dennis, who is in 2nd grade, came to us completely unable to read. He couldn't do his homework and he was very frustrated and had very low self-esteem. With intense tutoring and one-on-one coaching, Dennis is now almost reading at grade level. In only 5 months, he is able to complete his homework every day and is earning B's in school. This is a huge accomplishment for Dennis and we're so proud of him. I see myself in them.
I was passionate about mission-based work and nonprofit work that basically goes towards, a bigger vision and kind of changing the world. It was very optimistic, and that's kind of like my entryway into asset building and this type of work. Helping people wherever they are along the financial continuum to build assets, to save, and to accomplish long-term goals. Because it's about changing people's perceptions on their money, their relationship with their money, by educating, providing resources. It's a safe place to come and talk to someone. There's so many stories of folks overcoming hardship that I think that's the thing that sticks with me the most. You'll have a single mom with a child struggling because maybe she doesn't get child support, but yet she's a really hard worker. These are folks who are working really hard, are playing by the rules, but yet are having such a hard time making it or getting, just getting over the hump. And there's a lot of work to be done, especially here in South Florida, when it comes to educating the public about financial services and products. The best part of my job is being able to help people, being able to see the change and the shift. It's another layer, I think, of care, of service that the United Way brings to the community that I think has been, it's needed.
You've been a good guy. I've been watching you.
Jason Taylor's a great United Way volunteer, especially during the holidays.
Happy holidays. How you doing, buddy?
It doesn't matter that he's an all-pro lineman. What matters is that these kids know that people care about them.
Oh wow, a Ricky Williams bobblehead doll.
See, actually, this is a Jason Taylor bobblehead doll. See, 99?
No, Ricky Williams.
No, Jason Taylor.
You don't have to be Jason Taylor to make a difference in your community.
See the 99?
Pasar tiempo juntos. Hacer ejercicios. Reunirse con amigos. Esta etapa de la vida significa ser más de lo que nos gusta.
Lamentablemente, las personas mayores a veces son el objetivo de las estafas. Y las víctimas de una estafa se pueden sentir humillados y también perder su dinero y confianza. Por eso, es tan importante pasarles a los demás lo que has aprendido. Tu experiencia puede ayudar a los demás. Inicia una conversación con la gente que te rodea. Por ejemplo, puedes recordarles a tus amigos y seres queridos que, si alguien les pide que le envíe dinero, paren. Analicen la situación con alguien de confianza. Averigüen cuál es la verdadera historia. Y que una vez hayan tomado el tiempo para descubrir la verdad, entonces pueden decidir qué hacer. Tú ya lo sabes. Tal vez no hayas recibido una llamada o email pidiéndote dinero, pero es probable que le haya pasado a alguna persona conocida. Compartir lo que sabes con tus seres queridos puede ayudar a frenar a los estafadores. Ayuda a alguien a aprender cómo reconocer las llamadas, cartas o emails fraudulentos. Pasa lo que has aprendido. Y ten presente que un signo seguro de estafa es: si alguien se comunica contigo y te pide que le haga una transferencia de dinero, no importa quién diga ser, es una estafa. Tú ya lo sabes, así que pásale esta información a un amigo. Si detectas una estafa, repórtala a la Comisión Federal de Comercio. La FTC es la Agencia Nacional de Protección del Consumidor. Nuestra misión es detener el fraude, el engaño y las prácticas comerciales desleales y ayudar a la gente a reconocerlos. Para reportar una estafa, ve a ftc.gov/queja o llama a la FTC al 1877-382-4357. El fraude y las estafas afectan a millones de personas por año, pero no tienen por qué afectar a uno de tus conocidos. Es importante que todos comprendan el costo, tanto financiero como emocional, así que comparte tu experiencia. Cuando recibas un ofrecimiento, averigua, descubre cuál es la verdadera historia, decide qué hacer y luego díselo a un amigo o a un miembro de tu familia. Pásalo. Para más información, ftc.gov/pásalo. 1-877-382-4357.
Next into the tank is a solution to a growing multi-billion-dollar problem.
Hello, Sharks. My name is Chris Gilpin, and I am the president of Signal Vault LLC. I'm here today seeking $200,000 for 12.5% of my company. Sharks, I'm sure we've all received that phone call from the bank asking us if we have our debit cards because we're seeing some unusual activity in Timbuktu. As an identity theft and computer crimes expert, I can tell you that hackers can build a device that can steal your name, card number, expiration date, and security code from your card while it's still in your wallet or purse. Imagine I'm a hacker. You guys would all be vulnerable because you're within range of my scanner, which is outlined by this red tape. This wallet was turned in to the Shark Tank Lost and Found. And this is an RFID scanner that hackers can purchase online for as little as $25. Let's see the information we can capture with just a quick scan. Mr. Cuban, I think you may have dropped this. And that is why I developed the Signal Vault Credit and Debit Card Protector. Now I'm going to show you how easily you can protect your wallet. Simply place the Signal Vault near your cards, and our e-fill technology makes your information invisible to hackers. Contrary to other anti-hacking solutions available, the Signal Vault never needs charging or batteries and fits in any wallet. So Sharks, I just need to know, who wants to help me protect millions of victims from the next crowd hack attack? I have some samples for you guys.
Are you gonna get your wallet back?
I will do $200,000 for 25% for both of you.
I'll do it. Will you?
I'm in. Done.
Yay! I love it.
Don't be so nervous.
I love it. We're going to blow this out. You go celebrate.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Chris.
Striking a deal with Robert and Lori, they are my dream sharks. I know that we are destined for huge things.
Hi, I'm Chanel, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. Are you an employer with fewer than 25 employees? Get the credit you deserve, the Small Business Healthcare Tax Credit. Whether you are a for-profit business or a tax-exempt group, if you pay at least half the cost of premiums for single coverage health insurance for your employees, you may qualify. The credit has been around since tax year 2010, but some of the rules change for tax years beginning in 2014 or later. First, the maximum credit increases from 35% to 50% for small business employers, and from 25% to 35% for small tax-exempt employers. Next, to claim the credit, generally employers must offer employees insurance purchased through the Small Business Health Options Program, known as the SHOP Marketplace. And finally, in 2014 and subsequent years, the credit is only available to eligible employers for 2 consecutive taxable years. Although the maximum credit amount changes, the definition of a small employer has not. Usually, a small employer for the purpose of the credit is an employer with fewer than 25 employees, and those employees must earn low to moderate wages. There are other special rules. For example, 2 half-time employees generally count as 1 full-time employee. So if you have more than 25 employees, and some are not full-time, you may still qualify for the credit. If you're a small business, you'll claim the credit as part of the General Business Credit on your income tax return using Form 8941. If you have no tax due, you can carry the credit back or forward to other years. And since the credit will be less than the full amount of your premium payments, you may be eligible to claim a business expense deduction for the difference. That's both a credit and a deduction for employee health insurance premium payments. If you're a tax-exempt employer, you'll claim the credit on Form 990T. And for you, the credit is refundable. That means you can get it even if you owe no tax. For more information, go to irs.gov/ACA.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. If you're married to a same-sex spouse, the way you file your tax return has recently changed. You may even want to change some tax returns you filed in the past, because from now on, we will treat same-sex spouses as married for all federal tax purposes. This change applies as long as you got married in a location that recognizes same-sex marriages, either in the United States or another part of the world. It doesn't matter whether you were living there at the time you were married, and it doesn't matter where you live now. This change applies to all federal tax provisions where marriage is a factor, such as determining filing status, claiming personal and dependency exemptions, taking the standard deduction, receiving employee benefits, contributing to an IRA, and claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit or Child Tax Credit. Among other things, it means that generally speaking, you now need to file your federal income tax return either as married filing jointly or as married filing separately. You don't need to amend your returns from previous years, but you may want to by filing Form 1040X. Every situation is different, but in some cases, you may even qualify for a refund. The IRS has a lot of information available, including answers to frequently asked questions on how the tax law now applies to same-sex couples. To find out more, go to irs.gov.
Hi, I'm Monica, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. Scammers are looking for ways to steal your money year-round. The IRS has seen an increase in tax scams, preying on honest taxpayers, especially by phone. Some of the most common scams involve con artists who pretend to be from the IRS and call victims telling them they have to pay right now or else. Don't believe it. We have formal processes in place for people with tax issues. And angry, harassing calls like these are not how we do business. The IRS does not call you about tax debts you owe without first mailing you an official notice. Other tax scammers try to rip off their victims by luring them into filing false claims for phony tax credits, non-existent rebates, or even refunds based on their Social Security benefits. These scammers sometimes use flyers, brochures, advertising free money from the IRS with little or no documentation required. Sometimes they use email. In the end, not only do the victims lose the money they paid the scammer, but they also learn their claims are rejected. Or worse, they have to return the money to the IRS, plus penalties and interest. Don't fall for it. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. To learn more about tax scams, go to our website, irs.gov, and type scam in the search field.
The crisis of credit, visualized. What is the credit crisis? It's a worldwide financial fiasco involving terms you've probably heard like subprime mortgages, collateralized debt obligations, frozen credit markets, and credit default swaps. Who's affected? Everyone. How did it happen? Here's how. The credit crisis brings two groups of people together, homeowners and investors. Homeowners represent their mortgages, and investors represent their money. These mortgages represent houses, and this money represents large institutions like pension funds, insurance companies, sovereign funds, mutual funds, etc. These groups are brought together through the financial system, a bunch of banks and brokers commonly known as Wall Street. While it may not seem like it, these banks on Wall Street are closely connected to these houses on Main Street. To understand how, let's start at the beginning. Years ago, the investors are sitting on their pile of money, looking for a good investment to turn into more money. Traditionally, they go to the U.S. Federal Reserve, where they buy Treasury bills, believed to be the safest investment. But in the wake of the dot-com bust in September 11th, Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan lowers interest rates to only 1% to keep the economy strong. 1% is a very low return on investment, so the investors say, no thanks. On the flip side, this means banks on Wall Street can borrow from the Fed for only 1%. Add to that general surpluses from Japan, China, and the Middle East, and there's an abundance of cheap credit. This makes borrowing money easy for banks and causes them to go crazy with leverage. Leverage is borrowing money to amplify the outcome of a deal. Here's how it works. In a normal deal, someone with $10,000 buys a box for $10,000. He then sells it to someone else for $11,000. For a $1,000 profit, a good deal. But using leverage, someone with $10,000 would go borrow $990,000 more dollars, giving him $1 million in hand. Then he goes and buys 100 boxes with his $1 million and sells them to someone else for $1,100,000. Then he pays back his $990,000 plus $10,000 in interest. And after his initial $10,000, he's left with a $90,000 profit versus the other guy's $1,000. Leverage turns good deals into great deals. This is a major way banks make their money. So Wall Street takes out a ton of credit, makes great deals, and grows tremendously rich, and then pays it back. The investors see this and want a piece of the action, and this gives Wall Street an idea. They can connect the investors to the homeowners through mortgages. Here's how it works. A family wants a house, so they save for a down payment and contact a mortgage broker. The mortgage broker connects the family to a lender who gives them a mortgage. The broker makes a nice commission. The family buys a house and becomes homeowners. This is great for them because housing prices have been rising practically forever. Everything works out nicely. One day, the lender gets a call from an investment banker who wants to buy the mortgage. The lender sells it to him for a very nice fee. The investment banker then borrows millions of dollars and buys thousands more mortgages and puts them into a nice little box. This means that every month he gets the payments from the homeowners of all the mortgages in the box. Then he sicks his banker wizards on it to work their financial magic, which is basically cutting it into 3 slices: safe, okay, and risky. They pack the slices back up in the box and call it a collateralized debt obligation, or CDO. A CDO works like 3 cascading trays. As money comes in, the top tray fills first, then spills over into the middle, and whatever is left into the bottom. The money comes from homeowners paying off their mortgages. If some owners don't pay and default on their mortgage, less money comes in and the bottom tray may not get filled. This makes the bottom tray riskier and the top tray safer. To compensate for the higher risk, the bottom tray receives a higher rate of return, while the top receives a lower, but still nice return. To make the top even safer, banks will insure it for a small fee called a credit default swap. The banks do all of this work so that credit rating agencies will stamp the top slice as a safe, AAA rated investment, the highest, safest rating there is. The OK slice is BBB, still pretty good, and they don't bother to rate the risky slice. Because of the AAA rating, the investment banker can sell the safe slice to the investors who only want safe investments. He sells the OK slice to other bankers, and the risky slices to hedge funds and other risk takers. The investment banker makes millions. He then repays his loans. Finally, the investors have found a good investment for their money, much better than the 1% Treasury bills. They're so pleased they want more CDO slices. So the investment banker calls up the lender, wanting more mortgages. The lender calls up the broker for more homeowners, but the broker can't find anyone. Everyone that qualifies for a mortgage already has one, but they have an idea. When homeowners default on their mortgage, the lender gets the house, and houses are always increasing in value. Since they're covered if the homeowners default, lenders can start adding risk to new mortgages, not requiring down payments, no proof of income, no documents at all. And that's exactly what they did. So instead of lending to responsible homeowners, called prime mortgages, they started to get some that were, well, less responsible. These are subprime mortgages. This is the turning point. So, just like always, the mortgage broker connects the family with a lender and a mortgage, making his commission. The family buys a big house. The lender sells the mortgage to the investment banker, who turns it into a CDO and sells slices to the investors and others. This actually works out nicely for everyone and makes them all rich. No one was worried because as soon as they sold the mortgage to the next guy, it was his problem. If the homeowners were to default, they didn't care. They were selling off their risk to the next guy and making millions, like playing hot potato with a time bomb. Not surprisingly, the homeowners default on their mortgage, which at this moment is owned by the banker. This means he forecloses and one of his monthly payments turns into a house. No big deal. He puts it up for sale. But more and more of his monthly payments turn into houses. Now there are so many houses for sale on the market, creating more supply than there is demand, and housing prices aren't rising anymore. In fact, they plummet. This creates an interesting problem for homeowners still paying their mortgages. As all the houses in their neighborhood go up for sale, the value of their house goes down, and they start to wonder why they're paying back their $300,000 mortgage when the house is now worth only $90,000. They decide that it doesn't make sense to continue paying, even though they can afford to, and they walk away from their house. Default rates sweep the country, and prices plummet. Now the investment banker is basically holding a box full of worthless houses. He calls up his buddy, the investor, to sell his CDO, but the investor isn't stupid and says, no thanks. He knows that the stream of money isn't even a dribble anymore. The banker tries to sell to everyone, but nobody wants to buy his bomb. He's freaking out because he borrowed millions, sometimes billions of dollars to buy this bomb, and he can't pay it back. Whatever he tries, he can't get rid of it. But he's not the only one. The investors have already bought thousands of these bombs. The lender calls up trying to sell his mortgage, but the banker won't buy it, and the broker is out of work. The whole financial system is frozen, and things get dark. Everybody starts going bankrupt. But that's not all. The investor calls up the homeowner and tells him that his investments are worthless. And you can begin to see how the crisis flows in a cycle. Welcome to the crisis of credit.
There are lots of important decisions to make when buying a car. Do you need a truck for the farm or a small car for the city? How important is gas mileage to you? What color do you want? Once you decide what car you want, figuring out what you can actually afford can seem a bit complicated. Your monthly car payments might be affordable, but you also have to keep in mind other costs you'll have, like insurance payments, registration fees, and unpredictable expenses, such as a sudden hike in gas prices or the need for a big repair. So before you begin to shop around for a car, you might want to take a look at some of these costs so you're not caught off guard. First, let's figure out your budget. On average, people spend about 14 to 16% of their annual income before taxes on their transportation budget. That's a figure that includes all the expenses of owning a car, not just your car payments, but your gas, insurance, maintenance and repairs, and everything else as well. So for our example, let's use this as a guideline and look at what this might be for an annual income of $42,000. To figure out your budget, we'll take 16% of $42,000. That gives you $6,720 a year to spend on your car, or $560 a month. So let's look at the costs involved in getting a new basic subcompact sedan that has a sticker price of about $16,450. Now for any car, there are plenty of extra things you can get, like satellite radio or a sunroof, which can drive up the price. But we're going to forego the bells and whistles and stick to a basic model. And when you buy a new car, keep in mind that there are often extra fees in addition to what you pay for the car itself. You might have fees for things like documentation and destination charges for getting the vehicle from the manufacturer to the lot. Your registration fees may also be included, which can save you a trip to the DMV. Some of the fees you'll encounter, like registration, are non-negotiable because they are required by your state. But some things, like documentation fees and the base price of the car, may be flexible and open to some negotiating, depending on where you buy your car. So let's say that after negotiating the price of the car and the fees, and adding on your local taxes, you're paying $16,750 total. And in this case, you're going to finance the car entirely. That means you're not going to make any down payment or trade in another car. If you get a 6-year loan at a 3.5% interest rate, looking at an online calculator, your monthly payments will be around $260. But financing comes at a cost. In this case, you end up paying about $1,845 in interest on top of that $16,750 of principal over the course of your loan. So if you have the cash, you may consider buying the car outright. Or if you have a few thousand to spend on a down payment, you could lower your monthly payments and save in interest over time. But for this example, let's say you don't, and you've got a $260 car payment. Then there's gas. Let's say this car gets 32 miles to the gallon, and on average you drive about 1,250 miles per month. 1,250 miles divided by 32 miles per gallon gives us about 39 gallons of gas each month. If gas is around $4 per gallon, 39 times 4, we're looking at about $156 a month on gas. There's also your car insurance. Insurance prices are based on a number of factors, including where you live, your driving record, the type of car you're driving, even your job. If you're figuring this out for yourself, you might want to look at an insurance estimator, as rates can vary dramatically. Let's say you use an insurance calculator, put in your info, and see that you'll get a rate of about $100 a month. So adding our monthly car payment of $260 and an estimated gas expense of $156, plus the $100 for insurance, we already have a total of about $516 per month. Now let's look at some more periodic expenses you might have, like regular maintenance. Generally speaking, every 7,500 miles or so, it's recommended that you rotate your tires and change your oil. If you're driving 1,250 miles per month, that's about 15,000 miles per year. Divide that by 7,500 miles, and it looks like you might need to do this about twice a year. And let's say it costs you about $80 or so each time, for a total of $160 per year. Although some new cars come with a service agreement that covers some of these basic maintenance costs for the first few years. Now, going to a shop for regular maintenance can be a hassle, and you may wonder, is it worth it? Well, skipping tire maintenance and oil changes can cost you in the long run. A set of tires might last you longer if cared for properly, and a new set might cost you around $600. Not changing the oil will eventually wear out your engine, which can cost thousands to replace. So that $160 a year may be worth it over time. For the first few years, with a new car, you probably won't need to do much more maintenance than this. If you do, it might be covered by your warranty. You'll also have to re-register your car and probably get it inspected from time to time, depending on your state. This could be once a year or every few years, and can cost $45 to $300 or more. Let's say your registration and inspection will cost about $200 every 2 years, or another $100 per year. So adding $160 for maintenance and another $100 for registration and inspection, you get $260 per year. Divided by 12 months, we've got, well, about $22 per month. And if we take our previous monthly expenses, which were $516, adding 22, we've got $538. Then looking at our original budget of $560, if we subtract $538 for our monthly expenses, that leaves us with $22. So having calculated some of these costs of car ownership, we can see that this car could be inside your budget. Now, you may be thinking about that extra $22 a month. That's $264 a year. Why not accessorize? But having a little extra in your budget to cover unexpected costs is a good idea. It may come in handy if there's a sudden hike in the price of gas, or the cost of your insurance goes up. And once your warranty runs out, you'll have to pay for any repairs you might have, like replacing a headlight, or an oxygen sensor, or maybe even something bigger. So it's a good idea to keep these extra costs in mind when figuring out what you can spend. If your car payments alone put a strain on your budget, you might find yourself the owner of a car you can't afford to drive. And if a new car is too much for your budget, you might consider buying a used car, which we look at in another video.
This is why you took a second job. While you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. While you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making Home Affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE today.
Rachel was ready to rent an apartment. She looked at rental ads online and in the newspaper.
She asked her friends if they knew about apartments she could afford. At last, Rachel found a good apartment that was within her budget. Rachel knew she had to apply to get the apartment, so she made sure she had her identification, information about her employer and her income, and details about where she had lived before. Rachel filled out an application and gave the landlord permission to check her credit. She also paid the landlord a small fee for the credit check. But when the landlord checked her credit, he found that Rachel did not have a good credit history. Fortunately, Rachel was prepared. She knew that sometimes people with a not very good credit history have to pay more money in advance. Rachel explained that she could afford the apartment. To prove it, she showed the landlord information about her employer and her income. The landlord agreed that Rachel could rent the apartment if she paid the rent for the first month and the last month now. She also had to pay a security deposit. Rachel signed her lease, wrote a check to the landlord, and agreed on a move-in date. Now all Rachel had to do was figure out how to decorate her apartment without spending any more money.
Identity theft isn't just a case of account fraud where someone steals your credit card information. When your identity is stolen, a criminal can use your social security number to get a job, rent an apartment, or even take out a loan. And do it all in your name. In some cases, criminals are even filing tax returns in victims' names and taking their tax refunds. A victim of identity theft could go months before they even notice that something strange is going on. The tip-off could be a past due notice in the mail or a phone call from a collection agency about debt that isn't theirs. By that point, a lot of damage could have been done. If you notice something wrong, the most important thing is to act quickly. Identity theft is becoming pretty common, but it's still a hard crime for authorities to track, so most victims have to be very proactive in getting their identity back under their control. Think about it this way: you're going to be your own best detective on the case. So let's go through the steps you'll need to take to get your finances and credit back under your control. The first step to take as soon as you suspect identity theft is to file what's called an initial fraud alert with a credit reporting agency. Businesses have to check your credit report to open new lines of credit, so if they see there's a fraud alert on your report, they may try to contact you to verify your identity before doing so, which will make it harder for a criminal to open a new account in your name. To file an alert, you can call one of the 3 major credit reporting agencies, Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion, and tell a representative that you're an identity theft victim and want to place an initial fraud alert on your file. It actually doesn't matter which one you call, because whichever one you choose is required to notify the other 2. It's free, and the alert will stay on your account for 90 days. For even more protection, you might also want to put a credit freeze on file with all 3 credit reporting agencies. A credit freeze means that no creditors, like a bank or a business that offers store credit cards, can look at your report without your permission. This can make it harder for a criminal to open a new account in your name. You can lift a credit freeze at any time, or lift it temporarily so someone you authorize can look at your report. In most states, setting up a credit freeze is often free for victims of identity theft, or there may be a small fee, $10 or so. The length of a freeze also varies by state. You can visit your state's Attorney General's office website for more details. To request a credit freeze, you'll need to contact each of the 3 credit reporting agencies. After you've set up an initial fraud report and put a credit freeze on file as well, the next step is to start going through your credit reports. Your initial fraud report allows you to get free access to your credit reports from the 3 credit reporting agencies. Contact each one for instructions on how to get a copy of your report. You can also do this when you set up your credit freeze. Look over each report carefully and note any detail that isn't yours. Then, before you dig into the problems you may find, you'll want to file an identity theft report to let federal and local authorities know about the crime. The report will help you get fraudulent info removed from your credit report and can stop businesses and collection agencies from coming after you for debts that aren't yours. Filing an identity theft report is a 2-part process. First, you can file a report with the Federal Trade Commission. That's the government agency that looks out for consumers and helps protect them from fraud. You can do this online at ftccomplaintassistant.gov. Once you complete the report online, You'll get an FTC identity theft affidavit, which you can print for your records. Then you'll need to file a police report. You can do this in person at your local police precinct, or you may be able to do this online. It's a good idea to call ahead to see what kind of documents you'll need to bring with you to the station to prove your identity and complete the report. Once you make your report, ask for a copy and record the police report number. Your FTC identity theft affidavit and your police report together make a complete identity theft report. Now that you're armed with your identity theft report, you're ready to take on each fraudulent item you found in your credit report. For each fraud, you'll need to file a dispute with the fraud department of each credit reporting agency and contact any lenders or collection agencies involved. This part of the process can mean a lot of phone calls, and in some cases, it can take a lot of time. It's a good idea to keep a written record of each call you make, noting the date and time, as well as the name of each person you speak with and any instructions they give you so you can take the next steps. The FTC also has many helpful resources for this part of the process, like checklists and instructions for how to dispute different claims at ftc.gov. At this point, you can also place an extended fraud alert on file with each of the credit reporting agencies. An extended fraud alert is free and lasts for 7 years. It will allow you to get 2 free copies of your credit report each year, so you can keep on top of any new suspicious activity. And one more thing. There are more credit reporting agencies than just the big 3. There are also many smaller local or regional ones that could have reports of other fraudulent activity in your name. So it's a good idea to check your local listings for other agencies and file fraud alerts with them as well. Getting your life and your credit score back after an identity theft can be a challenge. Guarding your personal information carefully, especially your Social Security number, can help you avoid identity theft in the future. For more ways to protect your information, check out our other video, Keeping Your Financial Information Safe.
What makes up a mortgage payment? Nowadays, there's one thing that almost all homes come with: a mortgage. But what's a lot less clear is what actually makes up a mortgage payment. What's more, there's usually some extra costs that go along with your mortgage. Our video, Planning for Extra Costs When Buying a Home, can help you figure out what these are. But back to what makes up a mortgage payment. Well, you can basically break it down into 4 parts: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, or just simply PITI. See what I did there? Let's start with principal and interest. The principal is the actual amount you end up borrowing from your lender. And when you make a payment, this amount should go down. Interest, on the other hand, is the amount your lender is charging you to borrow that money. In the beginning, most of your monthly payment will go toward paying that interest. But not to worry, because as time goes by and the more you pay toward your mortgage, the bigger dent you'll be making where it really matters, your principal. Next comes taxes and insurance. Property taxes, as you may already know, are there to help fund government programs, like for instance, public schools and roads. But keep in mind, tax rates are different depending on the area and are based on the appraisal of a property. So it's possible that you could pay more or less than the previous owner depending on the home's current value. Do your research ahead of time and make sure you're prepared. Lastly, there's homeowners insurance. This may actually be the most important part of your mortgage payment because it's put into place to protect you and your home against things like fire, theft, or other types of damage that you have no control over. Put it all together, and you've got the makings for a mortgage. And now that you know everything that actually goes into your payment, you'll probably want to watch How Much Home Can You Comfortably Afford to help you figure out how much is just right.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. Now that you've finished filing your tax return, you're probably wondering, when will I get my refund? More than 9 out of 10 refunds are issued in less than 21 days. So, how can you track the status of your refund in the meantime? By using our Where's My Refund tool, which you can find on our mobile app called IRS To Go, or by going to our website. You can start checking on the status of your return within 24 hours after we receive your e-filed return, or 4 weeks after you mail a paper return. All you need to check on your return is a copy of the tax return you filed. That way, you'll have all the information you need, such as your Social Security number, filing status, and the amount of the refund you're expecting. Keep in mind, this tool will give you updates as your tax return and refund move through the 3 steps in the refund process. They are when your return is received, when your refund is approved, and when your refund has been sent. The system is updated every 24 hours, usually overnight, which means you don't need to check for updates more than once a day. Where's My Refund provides the most accurate and complete information available. IRS representatives can only research the status of your refund if it's been 21 days or more since you filed electronically, or more than 6 weeks since you mailed your paper return, or if Where's My Refund directs you to contact us. Issues that can slow down a refund include errors on a tax return and returns identified for additional IRS review. If we need more information to process your return, we'll notify you. Otherwise, you can usually expect the IRS to issue your refund in less than 21 days. For more information, go to irs.gov/refunds.
United Way of Miami-Dade invites you to join us to improve the education, financial stability, and health of our neighbors. Here are some success stories.
I generally think that this was a very good center for me to begin my education. I think the fact that my parents both came from extreme poverty and they were still able to provide the life that they gave me, where I didn't go through the same things that they did. I haven't had to leave my country and move to a whole new one. I've always had a very strong support system. I was always very studious, and I feel like that was set up for me while I was here. People were motivating me to read and to try hard, to be creative with the projects that they assigned to me. I was only 5 at the time, but I was already learning how to read and how to write. I feel like I always had the proper support even while I was here. It's a very endearing place to me. And that, that really did help me to continue that when I got to elementary school. I was given a full ride to University of Florida. It was the best experience of my life. So I'm the first one in my family to graduate from college.
I'm passionate about children learning to read because I know that it's essential. It's the foundation to learning, to their entire learning experience. In early care and education, from ages 0 to 5, they're exposed to reading and to language and to literacy, and they'll develop those skills necessary to be successful later on in life. Early care is something that I discovered as a classroom teacher is essential prior to children going to school. The process works, we're assigned 2 to 3 children. We read the story, and then there's also a corresponding activity that ties to a certain skill, such as letter recognition or phonemic awareness or something like that. I like to give back because there were people that invested in me and in my future when I was young, and it's only right that I pay it forward and do the same for the kids that are coming up today. To see, the smiles, the smiling faces every day, to see the excitement about the joy of reading. I would definitely recommend that someone become a Reading Pal volunteer. Not only are you helping your community and the children, but it helps you, and you have an inner feeling of gratitude for that experience and sharing with children.
My mother comes here to the senior center and has been coming now for a number of years. When my father passed away, she sort of lost her reason for living. It affected her very significantly. She was basically homebound. And then a family member of ours that had experience with the senior center and talked her into coming. And since coming to the center, it changed her life. It gave her an opportunity to get up in the morning, to get dressed, and get out among her peers. But I guess more importantly, she found people that were living her life that she could relate to. And that support system, I think, is really one of the things that provided the greatest amount of relief. It might be cliche, but I think it's absolutely true. You get a lot more giving than taking.
Well, at the time I got laid off work. Basically, I was one of my lowest points in life, I could say, until a friend of mine told me about United Way. United Way, what they did is, they gave me a helping hand. You think it's a day-to-day thing. You just work, make your money, pay your bills. No, that's not the way it is, and my coach showed me so many things about my credit score, about how to budget your money. I'm like, wow, and point you in the right direction.
With financial coaching, it's a one-to-one relationship with a client and a coach, and that we're helping clients achieve their financial goals. Create a savings account to better support their family, or build an emergency savings account for those issues that may arise. Improving their credit score so they can make that big purchase for a mortgage or a car. We're here to make those those goals to me are also dreams, and we want to make those dreams a reality.
They train me for a lot of things, you would think, well, you know what, at your age you should already know how to budget, but you really don't look into it in depth. The vital information that was given to me, I'm running with it, and I'm trying to do as much as I can, and not only for myself, but because United Way gave me, I want to give back to them. I want to give back to the community. I volunteer doing taxes. It's just a fuzzy, warm feeling that you get, being able to say, you know what, I helped that person.
I started dancing here at the Overtown Youth Center. I just came here for a class and I kind of just slowly fell in love with it. The Overtown Youth Center it takes you on different levels. More than if I was at home, I wouldn't have these opportunities that I have here. So that's why I appreciate them so much and everything they do. My dance teachers here, Miss Latasha, prepared me for the New World School of the Arts audition. It is a lot of competition to get into that school. That school has been my dream since like 7th grade, so I've been waiting for that letter for years, and it was overwhelming. I want to help people. Giving back to the community, I think it's great. I believe in karma, and I think that what you put out into the world, you get it back. So you put good, you get good back.
Great things happen when we live united.
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 Yes, great things do happen when we live united. We need your contribution to keep on making success stories like these all over Miami-Dade County. Help us now so we can do more. Please live united. Please give.
Es por esto que se las arregla con dormir 4 horas. Por esto tomó un segundo trabajo. Es por esto que aprendió a arreglar la plomería y pasa horas haciendo malabares con las cuentas. Es por esto que hará lo que sea para no perder su casa, y es por esto que queremos ayudarlo. Formamos parte de Making Home Affordable, un recurso gubernamental gratuito que ayuda a hacer los pagos hipotecarios con más facilidad. Ahora hay más opciones disponibles. Llame hoy mismo al 888-995-HOPE para hablar con un experto en viviendas.